Welcome to the Homeschool Show from North Carolinians for Home Education. I'm Amanda Wares, one of your hosts. I have with me today Melanie Willis. Hey, Melanie.
Hi. Good to see you again.
It is good to see you too. All right, let's get going. What do we have today?
So we're going to finish up our interview from last week
with Anna Maria Bagnoli. Yes.
I look forward to the rest of this.
Absolutely.
Are the motives, the reasons that these families are choosing to homeschool pretty much similar, or are there any unique motivations?
I will say 50-50. I will say what we have seen is that some parents just choose home education because they are seeing the tragedies of the private, or I'm going to say the public school system. Mm-hmm. So they want to preserve their kids. I will say that's number one. They have experienced it already. They saw it. Mm-hmm. And some of them are even seeing it live, so they don't want that for their children, so they pull them out. There's others, which is the next generations, the ones with babies, the 1-year-olds, the 2-year-olds, the even babies that are months old, parents that already said we are going to home educate, we want to learn before we even have to start.
Yeah.
So those are the people that we serve, like the new generation that is being born, babies, and then those parents that are pulling their kids out to just to preserve them, kind of give them more of a clean education, sometimes not even understanding the word. They don't necessarily have a biblical foundation, but I think the Lord is using this as an opportunity for those families to meet Him and really put in order back their households.
So a couple of different words of encouragement. One would be for example, our state organization in North Carolina. As you know, we were making an effort to make sure that our family is representative of all of the families, mm-hmm. and that we're supporting everyone. And so whether it's our group or others, what would you say to the larger community about how we can support and help
to the
those
veteran
families?
Homeschooling community, how they can support the new one?
Yes.
I think that the biggest strength always is to partner with those families that are coming in some shape or form, like offering your hand if you're an experienced homeschooler, a veteran homeschooler, to educate the parent as soon as they come in. Some of the needs that they will have will be to have that historical background. Where does home education come? But they also need a community that welcomes them in the process and walks with them in the process. So one of the key things I will say is that if you have families coming in new to homeschooling, specifically Hispanic families, don't just leave them at the door. Just walk with them inside, show them around. They need that. Mm-hmm. You might be an experienced veteran homeschooler, but they don't even know where the kitchen is, and they don't know what food to serve at home. But they're willing to learn, and that I think it's a huge advantage. What we see all over in the U.S. or other countries, that they are willing to learn. They know that something is wrong, and they don't want to eat from that anymore. They want to bring the good stuff home, and that's where we all come in. I mean, that's the perfect attitude, the teachable attitude that we all want to see in a parent. So that's encouraging. I will say that know that the parents are wanting to learn, and it's a process. There's a cultural background we need to deal with as well. Mm-hmm. And I encourage those like American homeschooling parents to kind of learn a little bit about our cultural background too. So maybe that helps you understand why we do what we do, mm-hmm. why we think what we think. And when you find those gaps, then you help the Hispanic parent understand that we're truly free. Like the freedom in this country is not the same freedom that we experience in our country. So your constitution is so different. Like I moved here into the U.S. more than 25 years ago.
From where?
From Colombia.
Okay.
I'm from Bogota. My children were born here, but it has been a process for us at home to learn about the history of the United States, and we have intentionally raised our children loving their country. Even though we are from other countries, our children are from here. So we have taken trips in our RV. We have traveled 30 states, visiting, learning from the history, eating the food, because you really have to love the country first, mm-hmm. before you actually can extend that to others. Hispanic people that migrate here Many of us are not taught this, what I'm saying. And I think it's key. It's key for the future of home education that Hispanic parents understand the historical background in the US, but at the same time, that Americans understand our historic background so that we can fill in the gaps.
Mm-hmm. And so, lastly, if you have a word of encouragement for Hispanic families, and if you want to go Spanish, just
Okay, perfect. So I'll say it in English first and then I'll say it in Spanish. If
Okay.
that's better.
Yeah.
So encouragement for the Hispanic families would be you came at the right time and you are with the right community. If you are close to your state, um, I'll say organization, knock the doors of your state organizations. They know better and they can guide you through. And if you're feeling called to jump into these waters, as I said, there's people to help, and you're not going to do this alone. You're not going to be ostracized in your home doing it by yourself. There's many of us that have already done it, and we're willing to support you in the journey and maybe even speed up your process. So know that you're not alone on this boat, and that there's such a long history to home education that this is truly not an experiment. This is a very well organized educational system created by God and then well organized here in the territory. How did that go?
Perfect.
Now in Spanish, para las familias que hablan español, hispanas, que están ya dispuestas a entrar en la educación en casa, primero conéctense con su organización estatal. Segundo, sepan que es un sistema educativo que tiene más de 40 años de historia en Estados Unidos. Y si no está en Estados Unidos, conéctese con los veteranos del homeschooling que saben más que usted y le pueden ayudar a entender mejor a lo que está entrando. Pero sobre todo recuerde que esto no es un diseño de hombres, es un diseño bíblico, el cual está endosado y custodiado por nuestro mismo creador, y que él ya ha preparado hombres y mujeres que están dispuestas a acompañarlo en su proceso.
Well, thanks for being with us.
Thank you
and
very
we're
much.
excited about our opportunity to minister to everyone and the way you guys can equip us to do that in future partnerships.
Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for the support.
That's great.
We look forward.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So that was great. I really loved in the second part of the interview where she talked about, how can we as experienced homeschoolers, as the homeschooling community, how can we come alongside those new homeschoolers that, whether they're Hispanic or whatever, she was talking about specifically Hispanic homeschoolers. How can we come alongside them? And I thought that was really important to note that she said, they're coming in, they want to homeschool, but this is all brand new. And it's really important for us, experienced homeschoolers, for those of us that have been around a long time, to remember, I think, look back, remember what it felt like to be brand new, to know nothing, and to just, be really intentional about coming alongside and saying, hey, let's go look around. Let's go, let's sit down and look at this. If it's at the conference, let's sit down and look at this program and figure out what talks would be helpful, or let's go look at the vendor hall, because it is overwhelming.
Yes.
And I can only imagine, I don't have the experience of coming into a big conference or a big homeschooling community where they're speaking a language that I may not understand as well. So that could be overwhelming too.
Well, and I just think as all of us starting out as the new homeschooler, coming in and coming to the conference the first time and just being so overwhelmed with so many things, and then adding on something else where you just might not feel like you're part of the crowd. And that goes for, not just ethnicity, but, different homeschool struggles, any of your special needs that you feel like you have. It can be overwhelming to start out something so big that is so important to your family's life.
Yes. And let me take this opportunity to plug our special gatherings at Thrive. We do have on Thursday, the first day of our Thrive conference, we have gatherings, little special meetups for as many of those particular populations that we can. So we do have a gathering for multicultural families. We do have a gathering for special needs homeschoolers, for single parent homeschoolers, for gifted, if you're homeschooling a gifted child, any of those things, brand new preschoolers, there's a lot. We also have meetups for you to meet people in your region. So we've talked before that in CHE, we have divided the state into 9 regions. And so there's an opportunity to meet other homeschoolers that might live near you. So please take advantage of those. I think that is such a valuable opportunity.
Yes, none of us are out here alone. Do not try to do this alone.
Exactly.
Very good.
All right.
So let's move on to what we've seen on the internet this week. And again, just a crazy popular question for you, Amanda. So again, something that we just see all the time. So anybody that's asking this question, you are not alone. What is the best online curriculum, or what accredited online curriculum should you use? And I have a lot of different emotions on this. So what do you have to say, Amanda?
Oh, man. I know we've talked about this before, but again, like you said, it gets asked probably every day.
Yeah.
On the various internet groups, Facebook, different places, it gets asked all the time.
Yes.
And I believe if you talk to almost any homeschool family that have homeschooled for a while, okay, they would probably tell you that a fully online curriculum is not going to be the best situation for so many reasons. And we could talk about this for a really long time. But I would say, is there a time and place for something online? Sure. But I feel like in so many cases, the families that I've talked to, the parents that I've talked to, they're kind of having a knee-jerk reaction to, we're new to homeschooling and we can't do this. They feel
it's a fear. It's a big fear.
It's coming from a place of fear. And it is my personal conviction that any decision made out of a place of fear is probably not the right one.
Right. That's correct.
And this is one of those cases that homeschooling is so much more than just curriculum.
Yes.
It's
Your
so
kids
much
are
more.
learning through everything that happens in life. And they're learning in ways that we just can't even see. And I'm spending every day with my kids and seeing the things that they're seeing. But I know there's been times where, I was given the standardized test and I'm looking over their shoulder going, I didn't teach that, but they got the answer right because they're growing. And as they're growing, they're seeing things and they're learning all kinds of things. And I think especially in the homeschool community, because we're not spending 8 to 9 hours a day in a public building, they're living a lot more life and just learning so much more. And so I do think that there is a place to use some online curriculum. Perhaps like Amanda has talked before about something that we're not good at teaching at, getting a course. But I can tell you from experience within my children and within my sister's children that when you go to an online format fully, they are missing out on so much writing and reading. And there has to be a place for writing and reading. In my personal opinion, I just think that they need that. It's so important, and it's missed completely in most of the online curriculums.
I totally agree. And the interaction, like the personal interaction, that is such an important part of homeschooling. I really feel like fully online curriculum, especially at the younger ages, the elementary ages, I feel like it's a mistake.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
And
That's a
I know
strong
there's so many
statement,
people
but
that are
I
like,
feel
but
like
I
it's
need
a
it.
mistake. I know.
There's,
And I am about to perhaps contradict myself in just a minute. But is there a time and place? Yes. Should your 5-year-old be sitting in front of a screen all day long for all of their work? No.
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 and
And
again, just out of that place of fear or that place of I can't do this is not the place to make that decision, because then I think
Agreed.
a lot of times people will be like, okay, I've got this online curriculum, and they sit their kid in front of it. And what I've found is that most of them, the parents still have to put work into. You've got to go in and see exactly what it's doing, print out PDFs, do extra teaching on the side, and that's getting missed. And then, like what I've seen with a friend of mine whose child went in to start taking the tests at the end of units, and she's like, I can't pass this because not all of it was actually taught on screen like the parents thought that it was, because they needed to go in and print more stuff out and do extra teaching.
Right.
It can get complicated.
It really can. It really can. And so on this accredited issue, this word accredited gets tossed around a lot. And what does it even really mean? Do we even know what it really means? So often not. But when we say we want accredited, what does that really mean? Number one, curriculum is not accredited. Schools, institutions are accredited. And very often, I would challenge you, check out, is the school that's down the street from you, is that school accredited? Possibly not. They're not all. So let me
The
back
question
up.
is it necessary?
Right.
I think.
And I would just answer quickly, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is no benefit. Like, I've had 3 kids that have gotten into college as homeschool graduates, and there is nowhere on a college application to say this curriculum, this class was accredited. They don't ask. There is no place to tell. It's of no benefit at that point. Again, curriculum is not accredited. So I think when people are asking that, they're really wanting, okay, is it official? Is it legit? Is it good curriculum? That is a better question to ask than the accredited question.
Yeah. And I think leaning more towards the is it good part, because technically, not that I have ever done any of this, but you don't have to have curriculum.
No.
There's nobody out there checking that you're using some special curriculum to do this. This is your school, and you are perfectly capable of teaching things without a book.
Yes, absolutely. There's a, I don't know if it's a meme or something out there, but it said, talking about years ago, before there was a institutional school system, where did these kids learn things, And I always tell parents, before your child was school aged, who taught them things?
Yes.
You did. Who taught them, their colors or their numbers or whatever, as they're little? You did as a parent. You are equipped. You are able to do this with or without curriculum.
Yes.
You can do it.
Yes, absolutely. You know your children better than anybody, and you love them. They're going to be all right. They really, really are going to be all right. So next up, Amanda, what do you have for us this week for Homeschool Helps with Amanda?
Okay. So there is, as homeschooling has become more and more popular, more families that are working parents, working outside the home or working from home, are starting to homeschool. And this is really, it's a growing need that I see for these working parents, because our homeschool communities traditionally are set up for people that are not working full time, not working outside the home. The field trips are all during the day, during the week. The meetup groups tend to be during the day, during the week. So what do we do? What do you do as a working parent? What do you do if you're working from home or working outside the home and you want to homeschool your kids? So let's get into it. There are a growing number of resources. I would say it's going to keep growing. There probably aren't enough resources out there for working parents, but it is growing. And this is why I said I was going to contradict myself earlier, because this would be one situation that I would say some online curriculum could benefit you if you are a working parent. If you're working from home or working outside the home and you have a child that is old enough and responsible enough, self-motivated enough to utilize some kind of an online curriculum that or not, that they could do independently, that would be one of my only times that I would recommend an online curriculum, would be in this situation where the parent's working and they need their child to do something fully independently. I also would say this is a great opportunity for families to join together and, kind of revamp, kind of look at the homeschooling world in a different way and say, hey, why can't there be field trips on the weekends? Why can't there be meetups in the evenings? Of course there can. So like I always tell people when they're first starting to homeschool, people always ask about socialization and getting together, meeting other homeschoolers. And my answer to that often is that you have to be a little intentional to find those opportunities, to find those people. And I would say the same to you working parents out there. You may have to look a little bit. You may have to be a little more intentional. Or if you don't see that opportunity out there, start it. Just put it out there and say, hey, I want to start a group that does field trips or meetups on the weekends or outside of regular working hours.
And people will come forward.
They will. Absolutely. Yes. Sometimes it is just as simple as somebody saying, putting it out there and saying, hey, I want to do this. Come on. So look for that. And there are resources. We do have, NCHE has some Facebook groups for people homeschooling in particular circumstances, and this is one of them. So you can join a Facebook group with other parents that are in your situation and ask questions, get ideas, network, make one of these groups. So that is a resource. There will be at Thrive at least 2 workshops about how do you make this work for working parents? How do you do this homeschooling thing and work at the same time? So definitely check that out. If you can come to Thrive and go to those, if not, you can buy the recordings. There have been in the past as well. So I would check out some of those resources and just get creative. Maybe 2 families can team up. I've known people that did that. One friend of mine was a single parent. It was a divorce situation and she found herself, wanting to homeschool her kids, but now she had to work to support her family. And she ended up teaming up with a good friend and, they would, on whichever days the adults were off work, they would homeschool all the kids together. And I thought that was such a creative way to make it work. So just think outside the box. There's a lot of ways to make things work.
Right. Well, and I'll say for my family, and of course, I've been able to stay with my kids for the most part. However, once they can read and write, I really did not have to sit in front of them constantly and was able to, just say, these are the things you need to get done this day, or these are the things you need to get done this week. And then once they were complete with everything, then we could discuss it shortly together. or they could
Yeah.
stop and say, I need help here.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of things they really can do and be self-led efficiently. It really, they're much smarter than we give them credit for.
That's so true. So true. So be encouraged.
Yes. Very good. And so in NCHE news this week, it is finally here. You
Yay!
can go online and pre-register for the Thrive Conference. So Amanda, tell us all about this.
Yes. So the workshops, the schedule, the speakers, they're all out there. You can check it out. And let me tell you, I'm so excited about our lineup this year. I'm so excited about the workshops and the vendors. Please, this is the time. So until the end of February, that's our early bird registration. You will get the best price, and it is a deal. Let me tell you what. You will get 3 days of so much equipping, information, connection, all the things. So please, there is something for everybody.
Yes.
We also have a children's program. So people always ask about this. There's literally opportunities for everyone. We have a children's program, which is a separate registration, a separate situation, but your child does need to be registered for the conference to go to the children's program. But those kids have a fabulous time. I believe it's from ages 3 potty trained 3-year-olds up to 12. I think that's right.
Yes.
And then from 12 and up is considered a teen in our way of thinking about it. And so there's a whole track of workshops just for teens that is going to be great. We also have opportunities for the teens to get together and hang out. There's a dance, there's a game night, so much fun. So
it
check
really
it
is.
out. There's something for everybody.
My kids love the game night. It is their most favorite thing. They absolutely love it. And I only have one suggestion as these things are already out there online for you to look at. Every year I go out as soon as the registration stuff is up and I print out the schedule and the timeline with all the speaker information. That way you can look at that before you get there and make plans and know which speakers and workshops you want to go to, because once you get there, it is so overwhelming. And
It's
yes,
true.
they're going to give you that beautiful book that has it all printed out in there, but it's just a lot. And so it's really nice to sit at home and look at all the workshops that are available ahead of time and pre-plan. This is going to be great for me. This one is going to be great for my husband, or this particular child should go to this one. And all of that is out there on the website for you to look at.
Yes, very helpful. And I totally agree. It is super helpful to be able to look at it ahead of time.
Yes.
So you go in kind of knowing a little bit what you're looking for. Awesome. All right. I think that's all we have for you today. I hope this has been helpful to you, encouraging to you. As always, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. And if you have any questions or comments for us, if you have ideas of things you'd like to see us talk about on the show, please email us. You can reach us always at thehomeschoolshow@nche.com. We would love to hear from you. So please reach out to us as always, and keep homeschooling with confidence and joy.